In this short video, we're going to talk about the concept of price floors and price ceilings. Um, this is basically one way that the government can intervene on industries such as banking that are too sensitive to be left to their own devices. Or, for instance, apartment landlords. There are, in many cities, price ceilings on certain housing so that groups of people based on income do not get priced out of their own city and their own home. So this is the example they give here: $1,000 a month on 2-bedroom apartments. Um, and then some places have laws that prevent interstates from going beyond a certain level. Um, so this applies to credit card issuers that are located in those states. Um, the fairness and the justness of price ceilings is very much up for debate. It's heavily a concept rooted in protecting the weaker from the strong, which is the basis of law. So it all depends on who you're talking to. If it's somebody who makes less money because of the price ceiling, they're obviously not going to like it. And if there's somebody who's not having to move out of their home because of it, then they're obviously going to like it. So on the other end of that, and this is an example of the price ceiling as it relates to the supply and demand graph. So if we were to put a price ceiling here that is below the equilibrium point, then we may end up with a supply quantity that is too low and a demand quantity that is too high, such as with apartments in Santa Monica. As you can imagine, they're probably pretty popular and pretty difficult to obtain. So a price floor is the minimum that can be charged for a good. Um, and so this is going to apply a lot of times to agricultural workers because it will prevent large industries from taking advantage of economies of scale. And economies of scale is when you make your operation bigger and so your per unit price goes down. And so the big, large industrial farming complexes could take advantage of that and, bottom out the prices on their produce, which would basically price the smaller companies out of business because they just can't get their prices that low. So this is a graph of how a price floor will affect your supply and demand graph. So here we're going to have a demand that's too low and a supply that's too high, because obviously the price is higher, so the suppliers want to push as much as they can into the market. But with a high price comes less demand, as we've seen on our graphs many, many times. So as we see, the net result is surplus. So that goes over how price ceilings and price floors affect the equilibrium and the supply and demand. So now we are going to take a quiz on equilibrium, elasticity, and price ceilings and floors.